Hi, this is Rob Leo, and in this brief tutorial, we're going to continue to look at Google Forms, Google's survey and data collection tool. As you saw me in the last video, I had all sorts of question types and so forth. At the end, I wrapped up by making some new titles and descriptions. I do want to reorder these. I want to put part one at the top of the screen, and you notice there's some dots. I can kind of grip these. I'm just going to click and drag and kind of place this towards the top of my form. A lot of stuff here. We'll just call this part one. And then as I scroll down to the very bottom of the page, we'll grab this part two and drag this to another spot. Just put it in here. If I wanted to change the theme of my presentation, or my form rather, I could click on a different color. However, if you have an image you'd like to use, you can use a theme that Google already has. Let's say you're doing this for personal reasons and you have a party invitation you'd like to invite people to. You could select it. It'll automatically change the theme of your form. But you could also upload your own pictures if you have any that you want to include as part of your form's theme. They have all sorts of stuff. Some of them are animated. You can see like the basketball player is actually shooting, the soccer player is moving the ball. So you can apply any of these themes you want to your form to kind of change its look. The questions pretty much won't change the same, won't change at all. Notice I added a title and description. I added different question types. One thing I didn't include was this add a section. So at the top of my screen, section 1 of 2, for example, and you could kind of click the dots to duplicate a section and so forth. If you have, you want to break your form up to a degree, you certainly could. Let's talk next about sharing, because right now, if we click our settings, this is just a general form. If I want, it's anonymous, but if I wanted to collect email addresses from those who respond, I could check a box. This works great for the @westgenesee.org domain. You can collect the email addresses of those who are within the school domain. Response receipts, if you click the question mark, it'll kind of tell you that the respondents, what's it saying? The respondents receive a copy of their responses if you want to. I'm going to keep that unchecked for now. Require sign-in, because I'm collecting email addresses, it does require sign-in to the domain, and you'll see that checked if you do decide to collect email addresses. You could limit it to one response per person, so if it knows that it's from rleo@westgenesee.org, for example, you could make it so that person can only respond one time. So obviously you can check the box. You could decide if you want people to edit after they submit, which I never check, and you can have people see a summary, charts, and text responses. I rarely check that one as well. But it's up to you how you want to set it up. I would encourage you strongly to have you collect email addresses if you're using this as a quiz. Notice on the way over, let me just save these settings. Let me just reload this. Apparently there's a problem. Again, I'm going to go back to the settings wheel, collect email addresses, and save. There we go. If I want to make this part of a presentation, I could like show a link to another response. I could have a progress bar. I could get a confirmation message as if it was part of a presentation. The other thing you can do here is make this a quiz. So you just click the button to turn it on, and you could release the grades immediately after each submission, or the teacher can manually review, and then you can decide what the respondents can and can't see. If you do make it a quiz, it will give you the option of kind of creating an answer key as you go. So if we just click on 1492, for example, let's click on answer key. We're going to add the answer and feedback. You can add feedback to it, and as far as correct answers and incorrect answers, you can decide what kind of feedback you want to give. But again, I'm trying to make 1492. There it is. That's the correct answer. I can edit the question obviously after the fact if I needed to, but when it's a quiz, again, you get to make the answer key yourself. So again, we're selecting 1492. We can assign point values and so forth. We can make it worth as many points as we want. I typically don't use this to make a quiz. There is an add-on for Google Sheets, and we'll talk about responses in just a minute. But there's an add-on for Google Sheets that you can use to make this a quiz. And I like the feedback that it gives a little bit better than I do with Google Forms quizzes. So once again, to make it a quiz, if you're interested, you click the quizzes option and turn make a quiz on. We're going to cancel that. When you're ready to send the form out to people, it looks attractive to send it via email. However, I would encourage you to send it as a link. Copy this link. You can use the keyboard shortcut Control-C in your keyboard to copy. You can put that in an email. If you're trying to get feedback from parents, of course, you won't want to collect usernames. You could, however, make a question that has name, email address, and so forth with a short answer question. But again, sending the form, look for the chain link icon, and then copy the link and paste it into an email to reach your respondents, or put it on a website like a Google site, or place it right within a Google Doc, put it in Google Classroom, however you prefer to share it with your students. When responses come in, I'm going to show you an example in a moment, but you will see visual responses. You'll also see a spreadsheet of responses. So we're going to look at another form that I already have set up here in my Shared With Me. There's a quiz I created from JD Schools. We'll look at this in the new Google Forms. And there are 14 responses. I just did some simple arithmetic. Capital of New York is. This is just a multiple choice form. And when we look at responses, you can I collected email addresses, so you can kind of see it. But what's nice is you can quantify, and I told the teachers, some of you please get it wrong so we can kind of look at the results differently. But the responses will come back visually, and you can kind of look at them and see who did what with the various responses. When you look at the summary, you'll see the overview of everybody. When you look at individual, you can kind of go person by person. And again, I collected email addresses so you can see who responded. You can see how they responded. And if you needed to, and I wouldn't encourage you to do so, but you could potentially print out each person's response. And it kind of goes through each person and it shows you how they answered. The results also come back in a spreadsheet. So when I click on the green icon, a Google Sheet opens up, and I did not give myself permission. So let me just request access here. And in my JD account, if you bear with me just a sec, I'm going to pause this video and I'm going to give. All right, we're back with the appropriate permissions. So this is what things look like in the Google form. Again, on the spreadsheet itself, I click the green icon to open in Google Forms. You can see that there are also some other options available. But again, when I open this up in a Google form, you can see everybody's response. Because I collected email addresses, a column was automatically created. And on this particular form, I already have the add-on installed for Flubaroo. To get add-ons, you can click the option. You can select Flubaroo. You can see I've already got it installed, and you can put it on your account. Once it's there for good. When I activate Flubaroo, what I want to do is grade the assignment. I've already done this once, so I'm just going to regrade it. And one of the first things it's going to ask me to do is select some grading options. So everything is worth a point. Notice it's not going to grade email addresses. It just identifies a student, so there's no point value, but you can change the point values. Let me continue. Flubaroo, by the way, has a 3-minute tutorial. It's really easy to use. If you look on YouTube for Flubaroo, or look on the Google search for Flubaroo, rather, it will show you exactly what you need to do this. But you install it, and it basically takes you through step by step. My hunch is that because I'm working off of a West Genesee account, that it's given me some trouble. But nonetheless, when you click continue, it's going to ask you to identify which response row you want to be your answer key. And because I answered my own form, I selected myself, and it will apply all of the grades to myself. Bear with me, I'm going to pause. Alrighty, here we are. So I'm selecting myself as the respondent to which all of the grades will be applied. I click continue, and it's grading my assignment for me. Let me pause while I list the thing, and I'll come back when it's live. Alrighty, grading is now complete. You can see that it shows me how each person performed. If I go back to Flubaroo, kind of gives me a little grades breakdown here. But when I go back to Flubaroo under the add-ons menu, I can then share the grades, and I can send these either to a student's Gmail account, which is typical. At West Genesee, students have Gmail. I could send it to both Drive and Gmail, or I could just send it to Drive. Either way is fine. Grade reports will come back, and you can decide what you want the students to see as well. But my video is about to expire, so I thought I'd wrap this up. But again, sending a form, sharing a form, and setting up a theme is something you want to take a look at. And then certainly using a form to create quizzes is a great way to automate the grading process. Hope you found this useful. Thank you for listening.